Playbook for Performance, the official podcast of Shauna Corden, the Joan of Arc for corporate healing and performance. Join the quest to make work fun again by preparing leadership for engaging workplaces. And now, your host.
Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Playbook for Performance podcast. I'm your host, Shauna Corden. Today is podcast number 83, and I'm reviewing my experience on 75 Hard. And if you're not familiar with 75 Hard, you're going to learn all about it, but really it is a program that builds mental toughness. So why are we talking about mental toughness when this is a podcast that's all about building better leaders? Well, sometimes leaders have to make tough decisions. It means that they have to be disciplined in order to make those decisions and not defer to the path of least resistance or what's convenient at the time. So let's get into it. So if you're not familiar with 75 Hard, this is a program that was formed by Andy Frisella. Andy owns a number of businesses, including First Phorm and some other organizations, quite famous, I think, and based in St. Louis, Missouri. There's a couple things I really love about him in that he's big on freedoms, he's big about America, and he doesn't apologize for it. Now, if you hopped over to his podcast and you listened to MFCEO, you would find that he has a couple of different formats, but his vocabulary is far more colorful than mine. So just a little disclaimer there. Again, it is a program about creating mental toughness. A lot of people have this misconception that it's about building physical endurance or fitness or something like that, because there are those components to it, but that's not what it's about. It is a series of tasks that need to be completed daily, consecutively, without fail, for 75 days straight, hence the name 75 Hard. There are also some follow-on pieces to it. So if you choose, after completing 75 Hard, you can go on to Live Hard, and more tasks are added, etc. So some key points about it that I think really contribute to the mental toughness is that it requires some planning. So a lot of times when you're trying to accomplish these tasks that are not overly complex, you've got to slot them within your day if you're traveling, if it's during the holidays. So in hindsight, I probably would not have chosen to do it over Thanksgiving and Christmas and our Civil War here in Oregon. This is our big, college football game, things like that, because one of the pieces has to do with no alcohol. And, those usually come with those events. So it really requires you to overcome that. Well, I'll do that later, or I'll get to that tomorrow, because you got to do it today. Otherwise, you have to start all over at day one. It really does kind of take on that Nike just do it attitude. It's like, I got to do it. There were times that I was in bed already, and I'm double checking the app to make sure that I've done everything. And I realize I've forgotten to take my progress photo. I got to get out of bed, put on my bathing suit, take the picture, check the box. So that was one of those things. You just had to do it. Prioritization, these 10 I think it's 10 tasks. You've got to figure it out and prioritize those over other things that you might have planned. And at times, that really inconveniences others. So my husband was a real trooper. He did not do it with me, but there were multiple times that we were either traveling or something else where I needed to get in my outdoor 45-minute workout. And, at times I was going in circles up and down our small little street, at 10 o'clock at night in my down coat because it's snowing, just to get that second workout in. Other times, he kept me company, which was really great. And so one of the workout things has to be outside, no matter what the weather. And I'll get into that in just a second. But I think those are really the key points. It requires planning. If you follow the 75 Hard hashtag on Instagram, you'll see there's a lot of people who, they're taking a flight at 5 a.m. and they're going to be flying. They might have to get up at 3 a.m. to do their outdoor 45-minute workout in order to keep the chain alive. So, couple of reflections. So I first heard about 75 hard, I think in the summertime. And I was very tempted to modify the plan. Like, maybe I'll do all of it, but I'll continue having alcohol. I mean, we're owners in a winery. And the Willamette Valley has some of the best wines, ever. And so I thought, maybe I'll do the 2 workouts, but I'll do them back to back. Because then an hour and a half is not that big a deal, compared to whatever. There was real temptation there, but I decided to order the book, and I will guess that not everybody orders the book. And what I have to say, I got a really nice handwritten letter from somebody who shipped the book. I'm sorry, I don't remember who wrote it. Just talking about their hopes for me and what the book's about, etc. So I read the whole book, and then I just chose my date. I do think all the habits are worthy habits. I didn't think any were silly or didn't make sense. One of the new habits that comes with the Live Hard, 100 is a 5-minute cold shower. And even though I've read the benefits of that, or cold plunge, etc., I'm like, I don't know if I think that one's worthy. So at least for 75 hard, I can confirm that all are worthy habits. Some were definitely harder than others. By far the hardest one for me was to drink a gallon of water a day. I was already drinking a good 75 plus ounces of water a day, but it was a big deal, and nothing was more discouraging to me to come up from my office at the top of the stairs and look at my gallon, jug and see that I had half of it still to drink at 5 p.m. It was so discouraging. So that was one of them that was definitely harder for me than others. The app that comes, or that you can order, I think it had a flat fee of like $4 or something like that, $5, was super helpful to be able to, see what was left to do. And also you could have reminders. So you could say, I had a thing, I do my reading at night, so I had a reminder at like 8 p.m., like, don't forget to read. A lot of these habits I was already doing, but I wasn't doing them every day. And that made a big difference because, let's say that I hadn't done my 45 minutes of stretching or whatever, and it's 8 o'clock, I might go, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. But with 75 hard, no, you're doing it today or you're starting over again. I will say, so I ended my 75 hard on February 7th. I was joking with all my friends that I was going to have a dirty martini for breakfast. And I probably didn't have a drink for another week afterwards. Just didn't seem like, I was surprised. I really wasn't looking forward to it. So a lot of these habits I really did aspire to continue, but without the challenge, I probably hit 5 out of 7, and I definitely haven't been drinking a gallon of water a day, but I noticed from drinking a gallon of water that I was having less breakage in my hair and my nails, and in general, I had more energy, and so I'm trying to work back up to that gallon. So I still fill it every day, but I haven't quite got to drinking the whole gallon again. So, who is this program for? Because you might be wondering, do I want to try 75 hard? Is it for me? I do think it's good for anyone who wants to build mental toughness. If you need more discipline, if you want a format, something to follow. I wouldn't do it if you're going to modify it, because if you're going to modify it, we call that relativism. You can decide whatever you want, and that's not really 75 hard. what we know is the data shows us that we build self-esteem by meeting commitments to ourselves, not commitments to others. So if you had to, run a marathon for a high school class, that doesn't really contribute to your self-esteem much. But if you did it for yourself, like you determined that you needed to do it, that's a big deal. So I would say if you are going to do it, make sure you can really commit to it and that you're going to be disciplined enough to possibly displease others in your need to schedule things and make it work. Again, you want to have support, believing eyes. My husband never interfered. That was really great. He was very supportive. And at times he'd go, okay, well, you're probably going to do your 45 minutes here, that kind of thing. So that was really helpful. And that was why I embarked on it. I felt like I could use a boost in my self-esteem, and that's why I did it. So what are the habits? You might be really curious. So 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outside, and they may not be done back to back. So there were a couple times where it was like snowing, and I had the stationary bike on the back deck pedaling at 9 o'clock at night. Those were some of the most amusing ones. And it doesn't matter what they are. You don't have to lift. You don't have to use equipment. It could be walks. They're not particular about that. Myself, I always did my outdoor one as a walk, except the couple times that I biked outside because the weather. And I tried to do some stretching or lifting for my other one, alternating. So you got to do a progress picture. So day one, you take a picture. I highly recommend that you take your day one picture in something that you could show to other people. I got kind of lazy, did it in my unmentionables, and but then after that, I did all my pictures in either workout clothes or bathing suit, and that way you can really see it, and I really did notice a big difference. I also wish I would have done a baseline measures on like weight, measurements, etc. I didn't do that, so I'd recommend if you were going to embark on that, you might want to see more of your gain. So what do I mean by gain and not gap? I've referred to this in the podcast before, where there's a great book out there called The Gap, Not the Gain, or the other way around. I should know it. Sorry, just looking on my shelf to see if I can see it out of the corner of my eye here. Not seeing it, but the idea is that, often we are comparing ourselves to the ideal that's out there, and we're always disappointed because we haven't reached that pinnacle yet, that perfection state, whatever it might be. But we would be so much more satisfied and happy if we just compared ourselves to where we started from. So measuring our gain, measuring that, maybe we weren't working out at all, but now we're working out twice a day. Maybe we weren't drinking any water. We were just doing caffeine, sodas, that kind of thing. And now we're drinking a gallon a day, that kind of thing. So definitely you want to measure that progress that you've made from the beginning. 10 pages of reading, improvement focused. So it could be spiritual, business, entrepreneur, anything like that. Just not fiction, that kind of thing. And a lot of people go, 10 pages, big deal, right? Because a lot of us are heavy readers, and we might read for an hour a day or something. But I was surprised. I thought, oh, that'll be the easiest one. But I didn't realize that I wasn't reading every day. And so there were times that I was like, oh, I gotta get my book out. I gotta read. There was one time we were traveling, we were in a hotel, and I had forgotten my book. So here I am, I'm reading on my phone, an ebook, just kind of scrolling through to get through that. So a gallon of water I've already mentioned, and then following a diet. They don't care what kind of diet it is, whether it's keto, low carb, high carb, whatever it is. I've been following Bright Line Eating, at a 90% level for quite a while. And I continued with that. So I measure my food, etc. So that was what I did. And then no cheat meals. So, you're not going to go have a ice cream sundae, I guess, unless that's on the diet, or alcohol. So, my advice. I think you should try it. I would suggest you do a trial couple of days to learn what it would take and how to time things. Because if you don't plan that gallon of water and get like 30 ounces in you like before 9 a.m., the rest of the day is really tough. And of course, those first couple of days, you're going to the bathroom a lot. Your body hasn't taken on all that water yet, so you're not used to it. If you've ever tried to prep, like to play golf in really hot weather or something, and you think, oh, I got to drink a lot of water, it takes a couple days before your body can really assimilate it. So that was one of the things that I would highly recommend. And just the fact that you've got to look at your calendar and really slot each of those activities in and stay true to it. You can't, someone says, hey, you want to go do this? It's like, well, I can do this. Going out with friends, having dinner, or going to a party and not having a drink, that was something that I was just like, or eating healthy food. So a couple times at my book group, I brought my whole meal with me and brought a non-alcoholic beverage with me, just to make it all work. So I would say just make sure you plan a lot. I would say have some milestones in the day. By noon, I will have accomplished this, this, and this. By 5, this, and this. By bedtime, this, and this. Because you've got to complete it all before midnight. Do recognize your gains, pat yourself on the back, and do look at how your mindset shifts. I thought it would be a really big deal to kind of, eat healthy and not have beverages in some of these activities that I do with friends and family. And it really wasn't that big a deal. I was really surprised by it. So that's my advice about the program. Should you read the 75 Hard book? I think it tells you a lot about Andy and how he kind of created this over a long period of time before it formally became 75 Hard. I think it tells you a little bit about the movement. Is it necessary? No. So that's my review on 75 Hard. Don't forget to invite your friends to this podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, we're also available on YouTube. And on the YouTube version, you get to see my talking head, but you also get to see some bullets, in a slide deck form. So if you like that kind of visual stimulation, you can do that too. But we definitely don't want to outgrow our peers. We want them to grow with us. We want to make our teams, our families, our communities, our country stronger. And so why not grow together? If you're new to Shauna Corden, do you know that we offer leadership coaching? My whole mission is about building better leaders, and especially leaders well equipped to handle change. And so we know from the data that there are 3 things that really determine the success of a change effort. One is leadership, the second is communication, and the third is the employee-based resilience. And so in this podcast, we try to address all 3 of those. We do workshops in person and virtual, everything from lunch and learn to 2-day workshops. And we really do a lot of consulting and mentoring for people who want to build a coaching culture in their organization. And the definition of that is kind of the opposite of command and control. So if you think of emergency room triage, the leader or the surgeon, whomever it is really barking out like, you hear, you hear, you hear. Everybody has defined duties and they just execute. Same thing with military, etc. And when we talk about a coach approach, we're saying the leader still has the idea, they have the vision, they communicate it, but then we incorporate a lot of the how-to through the ideas and innovations of the employee base. And that's what gets them excited about coming to work each day. So that's why we talk about that, coach on that, consult on that. If you are in the HR community, I will be speaking at SHRM in Las Vegas. I'll be talking about my new book, Meet Me in the Middle. And I'll be speaking at ICF Converge in Orlando in August, and I hope to see you there. Don't forget to like and subscribe or follow, depending on where you're listening or watching. And if you need help, send us a message at podcast@ShaunaCorden.com. Take good care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Playbook for Performance. To learn more about Shauna Corden, her consulting programs and tools, please visit her website at ShaunaCorden.com and follow us on social media at Shauna Corden.